This episode is designed to be controversial. It might make you mad. Not in some clickbaity or nonsensical way like that, but because it might just hit a little bit too close to home. You might identify with exactly what I'm going to challenge you on here today. And that is this. Stop saying that you lead by example. This is virtue signaling, designed as depth. It's laziness. It makes you sound like you haven't taken the time to really consider the responsibilities you have as a leader and try to figure out what you need to do in order to meet them. I guarantee you your people want more than your leadership by example. So does your company. The best version of you is not unlocked by only leading by example, and nor are you unlocking the potential of your people this way. Stop it. Now look, I'm not saying don't lead by example. I'm saying stop saying that that's what it is. Stop pretending that that's your entire leadership philosophy. And if that is your entire leadership philosophy, I'm gonna help you expand it a lot in this episode. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Leadership Unplugged, where we show you what real leadership sounds like. What are we really saying when we say we lead by example? What does that mean? Let's unpack it a little bit. What we tend to be saying is that we want our people to know that we won't shirk from the workload, that we're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and get it done, that we actually do know what we're doing in this domain or in this arena with them. We're saying we want to be an example that they will emulate. We want them to copy what we do and how we do it, how intentionally we do it, how many hours we put into it, and we want them to get the same outcomes that we produce as well. But the problem is that they won't see the vast majority of what you do in order to produce those outcomes. What they'll see is maybe how many hours you work, and in which case the lesson that they'll learn is that they need to work a lot of hours, and that success is purely a function of that workload. They might see the outcomes that you produce, in which case they'll think that, those outcomes are all that matters, but they won't see the underlying process or skills or discipline that you've developed in order to get there. They won't see the recipe that it took to drive that type of success. And worst of all, they'll think that your way is the best and maybe only way. And if you still think this, if you still think that your way is the best and only way, then you are seriously shortchanging the people that you've hired, and you're seriously undermining the effort and the investment you and your company have put into hiring people who aren't you. Excellent leaders don't want clones of themselves. They want to unlock the potential of their people, the gifts, the experiences, the zones of genius that these people bring to the table. And they take it as their responsibility to do so. And if all you do is lead by example, then you're missing the mark greatly. If you're still here, if this is hitting home, if I've struck a nerve, or if this is actually a bit controversial for you, if you've ever answered that what's your leadership philosophy question in this way before, good. You might have needed to hear this today, and you might need more Leadership Unplugged in your life. So take a second and subscribe. I'll bring you more every week. Now, before I get too far in here, don't just stop leading by example. Just expand your thinking and recognize that more is required than this. This is an insufficient leadership philosophy. More is required of you here. These are the table stakes, right? It's the bare minimum required to play at this level. I expect every leader to lead by example. I just expect a lot more. Because if you don't lead by example, people will think that you won't work as hard as them, that you aren't willing to roll your sleeves up, or that you're disengaged. And look, I navigated this really poorly with my team. When I started to make this transition to really recognize that more was expected of me than this, when I started pulling back from meetings and really starting to focus my effort and energy on developing them to be able to handle things in my absence, things went well, but they didn't know that that's what I was doing. I had 16 people that worked for me, and all they saw was that their boss was no longer at as many meetings, wasn't as responsive as he had been before. They thought I was just disengaged, and I frankly damaged some trust because of it. If I had just communicated better through the process, or kept leading by example as my primary leadership philosophy, and also added a secondary element about developing them and their talents, it would have gone a lot better. So don't quit leading by example. Just please buy in and recognize that it takes a lot more than that. Had I spent the time to enroll my people, like you can learn about in episodes 4 and 5, it would have worked a lot faster. I would have built a lot more trust instead of frankly damaging it for a little while there. Don't stop. Just recognize that you need to do a little bit more. So what do you say instead? Well, here's how I've started to answer the question. And no, you don't have to emulate my philosophy, right? This is mine. This is what I've landed on over my leadership career here. But it is a summary of what I feel. And by being able to vocalize it, it makes it a lot easier for me to know if I'm leading the way I want to be and if I'm actually living this philosophy with my people or not. And so that's actually going to be my challenge for you, is to develop your own. My challenge to you is this. When I'm done explaining this, take a second in the comments and share your leadership philosophy. I'd like to know how this has expanded your thinking into what you believe your philosophy of leadership is here. But here's mine. My job as a leader is to get to know my people well enough to help them uncover where they're trying to go in their lives and their career, and to then help them see how where they're trying to go is aligned with where the organization needs to take them as well, what the organization needs from them. And then to set expectations with them so that they can share with me how they are going to march in the direction of that mutually aligned point between their direction and what the company needs from them. And then to hold them accountable to the actions, attitudes, behaviors, processes, thinking, outcomes, performances, etc. required to get there. Along the way, giving them feedback, training, and support so that they're able to level up with each step in the direction of that alignment. And along the way to develop their trust so that I know that they'll share with me when things are working and that they aren't working well, and that we have a mutually beneficial relationship in that way. That's my leadership philosophy. That's what I try to live every day. And by knowing how to say that out loud, I can work harder to live that philosophy. I can look myself in the mirror and identify where I'm breaking down instead of a simple answer like I lead by example and I just ask myself if I worked hard enough that day or not. I focus on the things that really move the needle for them and for the organization. And when I do that, and I stay close to that intention, I find myself enjoying my job as a leader significantly more. Look, I don't actually care how you answer the lead by example question the next time somebody asks you, right? I'm not there. I'm not the one in person asking you. So like, if you keep answering that way, that's fine if it annoys me. You don't have to change anything if you don't want to. I care a lot more about how you think about the responsibility of being a leader and how much you recognize what all it takes for you to be the level of leader that you want to be. And your ability to articulate that out loud or to write it down in the comments is what will help you look in the mirror and know if you're actually doing those things. Your ability to say it to your boss, your peers, your employees, your spouse, your friends, whatever it is gonna help you live that philosophy more fully and enjoy your job a lot more. So go lead your people. Go develop their talent. Go unlock their potential. Go keep them aligned and keep them accountable to that alignment with the needs of the organization. Go have more fun doing that job, developing relationships, rather than just working your ass off by leading by example all the time and thinking that's sufficient. Hey, if you needed this challenge here today, if you like hard-hitting truths like this, come back for more Leadership Unplugged next week. See you in the next episode.